How's it going? I'm Jonathan. I'm here with Captain Ray Jarvis, here doing another issue of Captain's Corner. Jenks is a little tied up, so I'm going to be asking him some questions and just getting a little update on the season, see what we have ahead, and just
all right,
continue from there.
Sounds good.
So we heard you've been putting up some really good numbers recently.
Yeah,
Albie's some really good days.
Albies have been spectacular. That for a lot of the season, everything was kind of down towards the islands, either way over in Rhode Island or down Falmouth, Hyannis, the Vineyard. Buzzards Bay was lacking a little bit, but I can say that, they have moved. So, I won't say areas specifically, but it's been awesome.
Yeah.
And in 3 days, we put in over 100 Albies on the boat, which was
sick.
like a good 3 days. Other than that, just solid numbers. Still Albie fishing, so you have some tough days here and there. But,
yeah.
It's been really good. So it's been fun.
Very good to hear.
Still some bonito in the water.
Yeah. It seems like they've been sort of like mingling with the Albies a bit more this season.
Yeah.
In the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's been like the most challenging thing recently?
I would say still the Albies, as good as it has been, you have the days where they're just as picky as can be. So
yeah.
I find the nicer the day, the trickier they are. The nastier the day, the better the bite is.
Yeah.
So, I always, if I have clients and they have a day booked and it looks nasty, I encourage them to just, bring some foul weather gear and let's tough it out because the fishing is generally going to be as good as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas those nicer days, I get on the boat, they show up, they're like, oh, what a nice day, and I know it's going to be a tough day.
Yeah.
So still, Albies can be tricky, but that's Albie fishing.
Yeah.
So.
It seemed like that first push of them, they were pretty aggressive, and now that they're scattered and the bait's really small, it can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, and I notice this time of year, as the season progresses, if they stick around later, we start to get smaller and smaller and smaller bait.
Mm-hmm.
We start to see larval sea herring and stuff that doesn't even look like a fish.
Yeah.
So
the epoxies only get so small.
Right.
You can only tie a fly so small.
So when they get on that stuff, it's extra tough. You almost have to just land in the ragey feeds when they're kind of dumb, and it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What's your last ditch effort? Do you throw the float in the fly, or will you only stick to fly fishing? If
I'll stick to wicked simple basic flies. I have this one that's on a really tiny hook, and it's just a little bit of white thread tied on it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not white thread, but a little bit of bucktail, almost. It looks stupid because there's more hook than there is anything else, but it works.
So
with a little bit of epoxy on there just to give it some resemblance of something. So if you look at a picture of a larval sea herring, it's just an iridescent little centimeter or 2 centimeter long creature, and it has 3 little black dots in it. So
that's all there is to
I try to go with something that looks like that, and sometimes that's the ticket.
But that makes sense.
Yeah, and then spin-wise, really tiny epoxies, or even sometimes when they're on really small stuff, I'll still throw an Albie snack or a Zoom fluke in there, and just try landing the feeds and almost dead stick it, and I get some takes that way.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, the instinct with Albie fishing is to move stuff fast, but I always get people to slow it way down.
Right.
Even fly fishing, you do the double hand strip, but that's more so when you do get a take, you're ready to hold your line. It's less about speed and more about just being able to get a good hook set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. What's the most surprising thing you've seen out there? Is there any funky bait or just some crazy feeds?
I've seen some really crazy feeds recently. Like I said, really nasty days. Some of the feeds have been sustained, almost just some of the footage you're seeing of guys off the Cape with the bluefin, where there's just foaming Panama kind of feeds. It's been Albies like that. But again, the nastier the day, the nastier the fishing. So it's awesome.
Yeah. The first ones I got on, it was a rainy Sunday, and I was just gonna stay at home and do nothing. And then my buddy texted me a picture that he was on him, and I was like, and I'm on my way. And I got there an hour later, and it was pouring rain, but the fish were chewing.
Oh yeah, they love it.
Yeah,
and it's just they're they're not as spooked, they're not as shy. There's something about that nasty weather, and if you can get into a place where it's like wind against tide, even better. It's just, the crazier the conditions, the crazier they're feeding.
Yeah.
So that's been fun, and some big bonito mixed in, and just good fishing.
Sweet. Sweet. What kind of boat have you been running recently?
So recently, this season, I've been running a 23-foot Formula. It's a 1971 hull that was rebuilt. It's a great boat, nice flat deck, open layout, nothing to hang up on really. And other than that, I have a 20-foot Seacraft, again, a 70s hull that's rebuilt. And I use that more for shallow backwater stuff. And so those two are my main hulls. But
Sweet.
yeah, not overly attached to the Formula. It replaced my Seacraft, which I was running years prior. And, it's a good boat, but always have my eyes open for the next option. So
Right, yeah.
I'm lucky to have the boats I have, though.
Sweet. There's a big storm going on. The water's gotten like super dirty.
It has.
Is it all over?
No, not even close. I would say the fishing is extremely good right now. You just have to look around, and I took Peter out recently, and I told him from the get-go, we're going to cover ground until we find the life, and that's kind of the name of the game right now. It's keep moving until you find the right situation. We covered a ton of ground and did a lot of mileage, and we found bait in pretty much every location, but it wasn't until we found, the fish feeding the right way until we really stopped and spent some time. So, I kind of avoid situations where I find bait and a couple fish here and there. I'll just keep moving until I find, those really kind of ragey fall feeds, because it's happening somewhere. So
Right, yeah.
I'm not gonna kind of putz around and waste time on half kind of feeds. I want the real deal. So it's, in my opinion, it's all about burning some fuel and covering some ground. And if you can do that, and you kind of know where to look with the tides and the conditions, and you're gonna find good fishing.
Sweet.
Yeah.
3 meals before a trip, out on the water, and afterwards. What's your favorite thing?
Before a trip, coffee.
Given.
Black, no food. I generally don't eat before a trip. And during a trip, I'm not a guy that packs a sandwich or a lunch or anything. I usually grab a few granola bars out of the cupboard, and I might eat them during a charter.
Yeah, might just be
generally I come home with everything still in my bag, and I'm starving.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just don't think about food when I'm on the boat. I try to remind myself to drink water and eat food, because by the time I'm at the end of the trip, I might be getting really irritated with jet skiers or something like that. But I try to keep my cool and maybe, get something in my stomach. And after a trip, I wash the boat down, flush the engines, put it away, and I'm in the kitchen for a half hour just eating whatever's left over in the fridge, or I've stopped to fuel up and grabbed a bag of chips, and they're gone before I get home.
Yeah.
So, which is terrible. But I need to be better about eating better this time of year. So
during the fall run, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah,
You're just always on the move, and it's hard to just sit down.
Yeah, and even offshore days in the middle of the summer, it's, I just I'm lucky if I get a granola bar or two in me. But after a trip, I'll usually eat until I'm sleepy. So
Nice.
Sandwich, pizza, you name it, something like that.
What are you expecting to see, end of October and then through the rest of the season?
I would say expect, still really good fishing for a while. I know that there's still a lot of albies in the area, so don't hang it up just yet. And other than that, I start to kind of focus on areas where I would spend a lot of my time in the spring. So upper bays, estuaries, there's still tons of fish out front. But again, I'm looking for that really active kind of fishing. So I'm looking more in those estuaries and upper bays and stuff like that. there's still tons of bait flushing out. So I like to get shallow and fish marshy edges, little outflows from, rivers or whatnot. And that seems to be where I find the best fishing, or at least the best action.
What's the latest you've ever caught an Albie?
Last year we got them, I think it was like November 12th or 14th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
It was, mid-November. So don't give up. Water temps this year are a little different than last year. But when I was out day before yesterday, it was still 64 and change. So, last November they were here and it was mid-50s. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't expect them to go anywhere just yet. But it depends, what kind of weather we have, and forecast looks like a lot of northerly flow, so it may cool things down, but it's not cold, so I wouldn't expect it to get.
Yeah. There's still plenty of bait around to keep them, so.
Tons of bait and still lots of fish around, and I know they're still pushing from the east to the west. Guys are still getting them down on the Cape, so just get out there and explore.
Yeah, that's all good news.
Yeah.
How late into the season will you usually typically guide?
So I would say I'm usually done with at least like bass and Albie trips by mid-November. I'm lucky to get calls later than that. But I'm personally still fishing, and again, just going up into, where I am in Westport, the river fishes well pretty late into the season. But areas around me and up in Buzzards Bay or Mount Hope Bay, Narragansett Bay, you can still find plenty of feeds and active fish up that way. And whether those are like fish that are migrating down or just holdovers that are more active until it cools down, you can kind of bank on finding something. Mm-hmm. And then there's obviously plenty of tog fishing, but I'm not like, I've tog fished personally, I just don't run a lot of trips for them.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to get people out if they want to go and get them, and got plenty of good spots. So.
Yeah. It seems like the trick right now for getting Albies is just bring out green crabs, and then you just find them everywhere.
Yeah. There's still some other cool stuff around. I went out to the windmills the other day, and they were covered up in fish. Friday, today is Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So Friday we were out there and we caught mahi, and we got bonito jigging, and we got black sea bass, humongous cunner, bluefish, banded rudderfish. I'm trying to think what else, but still a ton of life out there. And the water was 65 and change. Then I had a buddy that was out somewhere out there, I won't say where, but catching bluefin on jigs. So
that's awesome.
There's fish.
How can people get a hold of you? You still have some dates this season? Yeah,
I still have some dates this month and into early November. For bass and albies, if they're still around. Bass are definitely going to be around, so they can reach me my cell phone, 401-269-1563, or on Instagram, Salt of the Earth Sportfishing, or on my website, nesportfishing.com. And then there's all my information on there as far as rates and all that stuff. So
sweet.
You can book me online, or you can give me a call and we can set something up.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to get out with him, hit him up. It's going to be a good rest of the season. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for sharing some info.
Thanks for having me.
Get out there, catch him up.
Don't give up yet.